Hi there, YouTube. I'm going to do another book review today. This time it's the Nelson's Minister's Manual, King James Version edition. I got the hardcover. It also comes available in New King James Version. If you get New King James, you have your choice of a hardcover or black bonded leather or brown leather look. King James Version, like this one, comes in black bonded leather. It's blue and black leather look or hardcover. I recommend you get the hardcover. Bonded leather, after a while, it dries out, cracks, falls apart. It's garbage. This is something you will use. It's not an everyday use, but maybe you'll go through it once or twice a month and even use it for references later on. If you're thinking about going into ministry, if you have a friend or family member who's in Bible college or seminary or going through a Bible institute or is interested in ministry, this is a good gift to give. The hardcover of the Nelson, which I'm holding in my hand, which, as you can see, it's not too big at all. It's hand-sized. This is $11, I think it was, $10.99 at christianbook.com. And really, these things are a wealth of information. I had to perform a funeral for my friend. Her infant child died half an hour after being born. I had to perform the ceremony, and I was a little nervous because it was my first ceremony, number one, for a funeral. Number two, it was an infant ceremony. And number three, I had no idea what to expect. I wish I would have had one of these because it would have come in handy. I mean, I wouldn't have walked in like I knew what I was doing because I had never done it before, but it would have gotten me prepared more for what to expect. We'll go through the pros and cons. One of the pros is this thing is large print throughout. This is probably about 11, 12 point font, which is good. You can hold it low and you'll still be able to read. You won't have to have it right up to your face. It's about the print of one of my large print Bibles, so that's a big plus. It makes things easy to find. I'll go through the table of contents in a moment. Cons: there's no ribbon marker, which if you're going to be doing a single service, it'd be nice to have a ribbon marker, because some people will just use this just as it is, and it'd be nice just to have that ribbon marker, or even if you're going to be studying one particular area, to be able to mark it off. But not a big deal. Another one of the cons, though, Nelson. They glue their bindings. They do not sew their bindings. And what that means is, right here at the spine, this area here, the pages, which is called the book block, instead of sewing the pages together, they just glue them all together. What that means is, if you open this up, it's not going to lay flat. It is going to constantly try. In fact, that's as far open as it gets. So it will not just stay open, as you can see. So if it was a sewn binding, it would lay flat when you opened it. But it's glued, so it's not going to do that. So that's another one of the cons. Those are the two cons I have. One thing, personal preference, is it would have been nice if all the pages were gold gilt to match the gold gilding on the cover and spine, but they didn't do that. But let's go into some of the other things, because this entire thing is large print throughout. One more con before I go into the table of contents. There's an alternative witnessing plan here using John 3:16, and remember, this is the KJV edition. Okay? and it uses the New American Standard, which I don't see why they didn't just make it KJV, but they didn't. So anyway, this thing is loaded with scripture, so we're going to go with some of the pluses now, some of the pros. This thing is loaded with scripture, which is good, because if you're looking up a particular topic, you can just look up several scriptures over 1 or 2 pages dealing with that topic. This is also, and I just got offline, I was looking at ministers' manuals. This one is 247 pages, and that is the second largest minister manual I found of this type of minister manual. Second largest. And the next one, I can't remember who published it. I think it was Standard Publishing, but it was like maybe another 70, 80 pages, something like that. And it was only $15.99 for, it looked like it was navy blue and silver, or black and navy blue, Italian duotone, imitation leather. I'm thinking about picking that up just to have it, because it looked like it was a little bit more thorough in some areas. But this one really is going to cover everything you're going to need as a minister. I mean, if you could only have one, and I've had the Broadman, a friend of mine loaned it to me, I checked it out. The Broadman is only about 140 pages, 151 pages, I think. Yeah, 151 pages. This one's 247, so it's almost, you know, it's 96 pages more, and it shows. It's decent. The amount of information here is just great. Of course, there's an editor's preface, and it goes through a list of contributors, but then it goes through, it breaks it down by section: weddings, funerals, dedications, baptism in the Lord's Supper, worship, pastoral care, and invitations. The weddings, it's nice. It has a registration form, issues to address in premarital counseling. It's got sample wedding ceremonies for formal and informal gatherings. It's got 3 wedding sermons: a general, one for a second marriage, one for an informal or home wedding. It's got a vow renewal ceremony, a section on traditional wedding scriptures, and favorite wedding hymns, which is nice to be able to have that right there at your fingertips. The funeral section, a funeral registration form, sample funeral service. You have 5 sermon funerals. I got that backwards. Funeral sermons. You have one, of course, a general, child or youth, accident victim, suicide victim, non-Christian. And really, that covers pretty much all of it. And those are nice to be able to go through, read, reference, base your own sermon on some of the stuff illustrated in this. Sample graveside committal service, memorial service, and then, of course, traditional funeral scriptures, traditional funeral hymns. Then you have your dedication section: child and infants, confirmation, building dedication, home dedication, groundbreaking service, and even the table of contents is in the larger print. And this is not a large print edition, it's just the only edition they have, and it just happens to be large print, which is nice. It keeps it simple and basic. Moving on, installation and consecration services, ordination of ministers, ordination of deacons. Now I got to say something at this point. For the ordination of ministers and deacons, one thing I found, I was just looking over it tonight, the vows are kind of watered down. So I would but that's my taste. I would probably go through and make them a little stronger, because there's nothing in there even about defending the gospel, the Bible, or the person, work, and nature of Jesus Christ, or the Trinity. Defending the Trinity is a big one for me. So if I was even going to be ordained and they were using this minister manual, I'd probably add to the vows myself. Baptism in the Lord's Supper, and you can see that worship section, pastoral care, hospital visitation, home visitation, traditional verses to share with the sick and dying, believers who are sick, unbelievers who are sick, dying or bereaved, the Roman road to salvation, that alternative witnessing plan, which I already showed you. Now this is nice too. Invitations for salvation and conversion, for recommitment of life, for church membership, to share a concern with the pastor, for altar prayer, dedication of Christian service. This has got a lot of information. For the price, it's well worth it. I can't say it. If you have a choice of getting this or the Broadman, I would say get this one. Honestly, I would say get this one in a heartbeat. Like I said, the one thing that I really dislike is the fact it is glue bound and not sewn. Because I'm going to wear out my spine. In fact, I'm already starting to, because I just pushed it in right now. But yeah, it's coming out fine now. But yeah, large print throughout makes it real easy. This thing's loaded with scriptures. See if I can find one of the scripture sections here. Okay. That's the dedication. That's where the ordinations and stuff are. Okay. Funeral section. Funeral for non-Christians. Funerals. Like I said, this is a large... For what it is, it's actually quite a bit. So, yeah, here we go. Scriptures, the traditional funeral scriptures, it goes on. It has some large portions, some small portions. That goes from page 99 to 104. And it takes every bit of page 104. So that's 5 pages of nothing but scripture and scripture sections. So yeah, if you're going to get a minister's manual, Nelson's Minister Manual, KJV edition, also available in New King James. Highly recommend it. If you're in ministry, know someone who's going into ministry, thinking about going into ministry, good to have. And not something you'll use every day, but if you're going to be active in ministry, you'll probably go to it every now and then just to look up passages and to study things out, keep yourself brushed up. So, yeah, nice little handy volume. Not too big. It could have been a little smaller, but with that large print, it's going to be a little bit bigger. So yeah, can't complain. Not for the price or the value, and these things are really just phenomenal. So YouTube, this is Chad. I'll talk to you later. Grace and peace to you. God bless you. Have a great day.